This is Marcy Braybrooks. Welcome to the webinar today. I'm a Senior Project Manager for IBIS America, and today's topic is how to implement SAP Solution Manager, and we're going to focus on the non-technical requirements to ensure adoption of the platform at your organization to help you with your SAP change initiatives. We've included a resource slide. These are some resources that you might find helpful as you plan your own internal adoption strategy for the platform, some links to some SAP resources as well as to some articles that I've written for the SAP Expert publication, online publication. And we also hope that if you're attending Sapphire, you'll stop by our booth number 1827A, as well as a session that I'll be giving on template management, the functionality that allows you to ensure governance and compliance within your organization. Our agenda for today is outlined in the steps that we believe you need to take in order to be successful at adopting the platform within your organization, and that is to identify, educate, and empower a team, outline a high-level strategy and roadmap that focuses on the business benefit of the platform. And then once you get to those, you need to create what's called a business blueprint structure, and we'll show you what that is and the options for creating it. And then build out content against that business blueprint structure to support your change initiatives, and then possibly identify a project that you have upcoming, whether it's upgrade or a functional initiative, to use the platform and support that project with the platform. And then you'll really be in a position to roll out adoption within your organization. So this is our agenda. At the end of the agenda, we'll have a wrap-up where we'll offer a Q&A as well. Now, identifying a core team needs to take into account that you probably have a very comprehensive organization supporting your SAP landscape. And so we would recommend bringing together representation from each area that is used to support that SAP landscape. Your basis or operational support, security, functional analysts or configurators, technical analysts, developers. If you have a separate QA organization, involve them as well. And then also PM representation, project management, program office or PMO. And then if you do have the project delivery as well as production support groups, then make sure that you include the production support group as well. And just bring representation from each one of these areas. They each offer a different viewpoint of the effort that's involved in supporting SAP, and they all need to be educated on the offering that the platform has. And then educate them. Give them enough information. This isn't just taking them out to those SAP classes, which can be a very large initiative if you know, depending on what it is you're interested in, but give them enough of an education so that they're all on a level playing field in terms of their understanding of what the platform can do and how it can help. And the functionality in the platform is organized by different ALM processes. Now, every time you do an initiative, you go through the process of gathering requirements, designing the functionality and the solution that's going to meet those requirements, and then building that and testing that and deploying it. And then it becomes operational, and now you need to optimize it. So the ALM processes are all identified around each of these aspects with specific tool-based functionality in the platform to help you accelerate that, as well as reduce costs in getting some tool-based support for those. So educate the team in the offering, educate the team in the tools that are available for all of these processes, and that's really what the IBIS workshops are designed to do. We've created 3 to 5 day workshops. Again, these are specifically designed to bring your team to a level playing field with an understanding of the platform and how it can help, how it can support your internal methodology. And you can use that workshop either in a planning and discovery format, where if you don't have a specific initiative to align to yet, you just need a better understanding of the platform and what it can offer you. That can be a planning and discovery workshop. Or if you do want to adopt the platform and you have an initiative that you're ready to align it to, then we can offer that as a training initiative, and that can be part of the project prep of that initiative to get that team trained to use the platform, how it's going to be used. But the key here is to make sure that there is an effective knowledge transfer so that you can make the decisions you need in an informed way to adopt the platform and begin to leveraging that functionality. And then empower that team, empower them to define the standards and procedures that are going to be used in the framework of Solution Manager, and make decisions about projects and solutions, about documentation that will be then adopted by the rest of your organization to take advantage of the Solution Manager platform. Now, once you've done that, then that team is ready to outline a high-level strategy and roadmap, and we're going to encourage you to focus on leveraging the platform to tie to specific business benefits so that you can get the internal support you need to adopt the platform. So again, the Solution Manager system has functionality to support you on the operational side as well as application lifecycle management. So in the tool, you're going to find functionality in every area that's depicted here on this slide. The Run SAP Like a Factory focuses on the operational aspects, and ALM focusing on the ongoing change initiatives and supporting you with that. So now your strategy needs to define what is it that you're going to go after specifically in the platform. So take a look at your pain points. What do you have going on in your organization that you know of that could potentially be alleviated by some aspect of functionality within the Solution Manager platform? Maybe you have some business processes that are prone to critical issues. Maybe you have performance issues. Maybe your issue is with the production turnover when you go live with different initiatives, the handoff to production. Or maybe it's documentation. Can you easily get a hold of the documentation about your solution? Maybe you need the repository that Solution Manager provides. Or if it's knowledge transfer to new hires, or knowledge transfer if you use some offshore resources or consulting help. Or maybe it's testing and validation that you are subject to go-lives where there's a number of issues at that time that maybe you need to tighten up the testing and validation that you do and have a better handle on that. So each one of these pain points will result in a direct benefit to the business with a tool-based support that Solution Manager can provide you. And here's some examples of how that works. So for instance, if you are facing some critical business issues, you could change to a more proactive approach on monitoring those business processes that are error-prone with IDOCs or batch process monitoring, or KPI backlog, taking a look and seeing, do we have a lot of situations where things are overdue, not processed effectively in the system. So there's functionality in the platform to support you with this proactive monitoring of those error-prone processes. If it's testing and validation that you're looking at improving, maybe that's where you make an effort to leverage the platform to help you with that, getting into some automated testing or establishing a foundation to use the functionality called Business Process Change Impact Analysis with the BPCA functionality. That's based on building out technical bills of material for an automated way of developing scope for that testing and validation initiative. And maybe it's the knowledge transfer at Go Live, in which case it's a matter of just building that solution documentation so that it can be leveraged better at the Go Live phase to the support organization. So again, going back to where are your pain points, and then go after that functionality in the platform that will specifically alleviate those pain points. And IBIS can help you with this. We understand the platform, we understand the functionality, we can discover through a workshop how to support you building out a strategy and a roadmap, and also guide you with the functionality that would be best suited in your own organization, and then lay out that roadmap. How are you going to get to it? How are you going to implement it? So again, we can support you with that. So once you've made those decisions, the first thing you're going to need to do to start leveraging this platform is to build a business blueprint, and that's a process inventory, and we're going to talk about that. In the Solution Manager platform, the blueprint forms the basis for your projects. So it's the structure or the inventory of processes and then the documentation that goes with those processes. And that documentation includes the transactions and programs that are used to support you with those processes, with the functionality. Now, when you're building your blueprint, there's 3 levels that you can build against: the scenario level, and then the process and process steps. And then there's also placeholders for organizational units and master data. And this process structure, this hierarchy, is delivered by SAP from what they call their Business Process Repository, or BPR. Now, if you decide to leverage that BPR, then there's a number of benefits that you're going to have by leveraging it. And some companies do opt to create their own custom process model. However, we would encourage you to understand what you're getting into with that in terms of the downside and the ongoing maintenance that is going to be required for that. So we would encourage you to look at the BPR, understand what kind of content is going to be delivered from that, and we've included a link for you so that you can go out and take a look at it. And again, it's predefined content, so it's the structure, but it's also predefined content, the documentation, the transactions that are used for that process, config objects, and in some cases whole config guides that are delivered to help you adopt that functionality, and also sample test scripts for how to test and validate that functionality. So the BPR is a very powerful tool in terms of adopting that standard content to build your process inventory or your business blueprint. And another reason to take advantage of the BPR is because then you can leverage what's called the Solution Documentation Assistant and Reverse Business Process Documentation, or RBPD. This content allows you to use this functionality in Solution Manager to automatically identify what processes are used. This is standard functionality available for customers that have either enterprise support or max attention agreements with SAP. So if you have those types of license arrangements, then you can use this functionality and automatically create a business blueprint based on usage in your system. And IBIS can help with this. We have what we call our starter pack. And what we do is we come in and we help you set this up so that you can get to that automatic usage analysis. And you can see up in the left-hand pane of this slide an example of what happens when you run that usage analysis. You'll actually get the listing of processes with traffic lighting to indicate what you're using and what you're not using. And then that can form the basis for your blueprint structure and the scope of your blueprint structure. And it's all linked to that business process repository of the standard SAP processes that are available in your platform. Now, if you're running systems that are not analyzable by RBPD, then RBE Plus services can be used to analyze those systems. So we can analyze your BW system, CRM system, SCM processes, and we can do this with our RBE Plus tools. Now, this RBE Plus content was what formed the basis of reverse business process documentation content, and SAP asked us to partner with them and create that reverse business process documentation content for the Solution Documentation Assistant from there. But again, not all systems are analyzable with that RBPD content, and so in that case, we have RBE Plus services to support you. Once you have that blueprint of your SAP standard processes, you need to model in your custom development. And gaps that occur in the standard, if you have maybe whole scenarios or process steps that are developed by you to support your own organization, you need to get those into that structure so that you have a complete business blueprint. And IBIS can help with this. We have a tool that we developed that's specifically tied to the SAP BPR, and we are experts in the business process repository, so we can make this process very, very quick and easy for you. Our tool is called the RBE Plus Blueprint Designer Tool. We can use a drag and drop so that we can bring your custom objects into the standard structure. We can model additional custom processes, custom process steps, and again, even scenarios in order to get you to that complete inventory, that complete business process inventory of what you're supporting with your business partners in your IT organization. And once you have that documentation, you're going to be able to leverage that. That documentation is going to be what's called the single source of truth that you're then going to leverage across all the different processes of application lifecycle management again and again. So whether it's time for testing, now you're testing against that structure. If you're live and going operational and you want to do some monitoring of processes, that functionality can be leveraged against the structure that you built. Or if you're ready for upgrade, you can reuse that as your scope for upgrade. So that's what's so important about getting to that base level business blueprint. Now, once you have that structure, you need to make decisions about what content you want to build out in that structure. And we're going to take a look at the type of content that you can put into this structure. Now, why is this important? Well, when you get to a business process-based orientation of documentation, now you're going to be saving some time and money, because in the traditional project-based approach to documentation, you're delivering that documentation to support the project deliverables, and you're doing it over and over again. So now you're getting into this redundant duplication of collateral. And if you get to a process-oriented storage approach to documentation, you are picking up where you left off with the last initiative. So you're reusing that collateral, and this is going to result in a tremendous amount of savings for you of time and resources. And the way this works in the Solution Manager platform is that structure, that business blueprint structure, becomes the basis, or the nodes, if you will, that you're then going to assign the documents that go with each phase of deliverables. So during requirements or design and build, testing and validation, and training, your collateral is being built according to the business process. So you're able to identify where was the last version of the documentation for a given process, and then you can pick that up and reuse it on an ongoing basis. And the other value to orienting yourself to a process-based approach is you can tie your objects, and those include transactions, IMG objects, program or other development objects, to that structure as well. And this can become landscape independent, because it doesn't matter if a process spans more than one system, or you have a definition of organizational units and master data in more than one system. You can build this structure to support you with visibility no matter where those structure structure nodes exist in your landscape. So this is very powerful for you to get to a complete understanding of how those systems are supporting processes in your organization. Now, SAP also leverages the IBIS services for SAP customers, because our competence is in helping you build out that solution documentation, helping you get to a comprehensive view of exactly what you're running in your SAP landscape. And now I'm just going to run through those. So we have support for organizations that have complex organizational or landscape structures. So if you're trying to get to specific initiatives for template management, for instance, with a global template, or landscape transformation where you're trying to consolidate your servers, this RBE Plus Analysis will do that work for you and automatically analyze and compare and contrast what's going on in those different organizational units, or what's going on in those different systems, so that you can use this as a basis of getting to, again, that global template or the requirements for landscape transformation. We can also support you with test management because we can get you to a comprehensive understanding of not just the functional use from a standard process perspective or custom process perspective, but the variations of those processes. And this is important if you want to leverage that business process change impact analysis. You want to make sure that you have a comprehensive description of exactly what you're supporting so that this will then create for you that impact analysis more comprehensively. And we tie this directly to the functional definition of the SAP processes. So you can pick this up and align it directly to what coverage do you need within your solution documentation so that you are covering all facets of a given process, all the different process variations. This is done at a customizing level. So when you go in and look at the results of an RBE Plus analysis, you're going to be able to see not just, again, the standard, but all the way down to the configuration level of how you're handling certain processes in your organization, which is really important to get to a comprehensive understanding of how those processes are being used and how to validate them. And comprehensive testing includes how are you running certain things. So that gets into what test types are being used, and we can document that for you as well. So when you test something from a dialogue or foreground perspective, the results of that test can be very different testing it from a background perspective. So we can document for you exactly how each of those objects is being executed, and then we also get into documentation of the RFC connections, how they're implemented, if you're running IDOCs, if you have special forms, workflow, batch jobs, and all of that, and that's all part of getting to a comprehensive understanding of what you've built and how you need to validate it. So once you have the results of an RBE Plus analysis, you can circle back to your blueprint structure and use the results of that analysis to further adjust that blueprint structure so that it becomes the most comprehensive view of processes that you're supporting in your organization. And we would encourage you then to also take a look at the open architecture of the Solution Manager platform for automated testing so that you can maybe leverage that functionality for regression purposes and take away, again, the time and resources needed in your organization for validation. We also have an RBE Plus analysis to support you with a better understanding of your user base as well as the roles that are supporting those users. This is a view of how to use the results of an analysis for prioritization. So you can take a look and see exactly what are the high usage transactions, what transactions and objects aren't used so that we can eliminate those from our scope. Again, this is automated. It's a way of quickly understanding exactly how your business is using the system. And then we can point out to you where you've got usage of obsolete objects, because these can be removed from your support and maintenance view. You can identify exactly where you need to move those users to, what transactions is SAP no longer continuing to develop, where have they focused the development, and again, this is part of reducing your internal support and maintenance costs on an ongoing basis by making sure that you have streamlined the usage of the system so that it's only the most current version of objects that are being used. We also support segregation of duties initiatives by taking a look at not just what users are using, but where authorizations exist as well for critical combinations of activities. So you can use this if you're trying to get to a better security execution in your system, and make sure that the authorizations also tie you to the segregation of duties as well. And we identify your user base, and we do that by functional area. So this is very helpful if you're trying to understand within a given functional area, if you've got initiatives that are going to impact certain functionality, who are the people that need to be notified for organizational change management, as well as for training purposes, and support for you and the initiative, who are your power users. So we tie this again to the functional area so that you can leverage that for different purposes and understand your user base across those functional areas. So once you've gone through these steps, you've educated the team, you have your strategy and roadmap, your blueprint is created, now see if you have an initiative upcoming that you could leverage this against and use that Solution Manager platform to support that initiative. And that would be a much easier way to socialize this within your organization. First of all, it will absorb the cost of that into your project budget. And you can use the training, do the training and setup during the natural project prep phase of your project. Then you'll be in a position as well to use the functionality to reverse engineer a project structure with that reverse business process documentation. So that's an automated way of building that scope. Analyze your system with the RBE Plus Analysis so that you can also get to those process variants and understand where those variants need to be reflected in the scope. And then the documentation build-out is now part of the requirements dictated by phase gate review of the project. So you've got a natural way of building the content in that structure because the project is responsible for that anyway. You can also leverage functionality like business process change impact analysis to support you understanding the impact of change as it occurs, making sure, verify that your testing is complete, and on an ongoing basis also take advantage of that automated analysis of usage of Solution Documentation Assistant to test that unit testing has been completed properly, that integration testing has been completed properly as well as comprehensively. And again, so this is all about taking advantage of the tool in conjunction with an existing initiative, and then you're aligning it so that you can further turn around and adopt it across your whole entire organization at the end of that initiative. So that's our approach that we would suggest that we'd like to help you with. And now we'll go through just a couple wrap-up slides, and then we'll open it up for questions and answers. So a little bit about us. IBIS America is a company. We're part of the Tomei group of companies. This is a group of companies focused on continuity and innovation for SAP customers. We support the methods and tools needed to accelerate adoption of SAP functionality as well as the ongoing management of SAP platforms. And we have 4 primary lines of business. The one that we're talking about today with the RBE Plus Analysis, but we also support customers with cloud solutions. We're a partner for the SAP Business by Design solution. We have a line of business focused on the research and development. We partner directly with SAP in development of things like the new HANA approach. And then we also have a line of business focused on security, where we can consult with you on specific security initiatives and requirements. I've included a couple slides as well that outline those services that we talked about today that can be used to support you with Solution Manager adoption. So you can go back and reference these, and again, to get a better understanding of how each of those different services will support you with Solution Manager, as well as understanding an automatic documentation of the SAP systems that you're responsible for supporting within your IT SAP organization. So you can take a look at those. Now, when we talk about the process of services that we've been sharing with you today, it's really not a long time frame. So, and the key here is that IBIS is going to start the project by helping identify exactly what services will be best suited based on your initiative. So we're more interested in making sure that we're delivering to you the best tools and services needed to support you based on your initiative. So that's the first part, and then once we can get through and identify exactly how best we can support you, from the time that we start that engagement till the time that we finish delivery is about a 6 to 8 week process. So it's a very short time frame in terms of delivering to you, again, automatic documentation, helping you develop and internalize the use of the platform of Solution Manager, and again, stage that for potentially an existing initiative that you have. Now, some of our customers have allowed us to point out their specific testimonials, and Andy Van Inwiegen from Microsoft made a comment that is actually pretty common when we analyze SAP systems, that batch jobs are some of those things that just aren't retired. So if you go through an initiative and you've gone live with a change, and maybe you've retired an old version of a process, batch jobs are sometimes left running. So this is something that, again, you talk about an automatic documentation. These are the types of things that can be uncovered for you by the automated analysis approach. Or, for instance, Rod Schmisser from Verizon, and the comment he made about the diversity of functionality across different regions, able to then take that information and start harmonizing processes so that they can streamline the support within the IS organization as well, so that they're not supporting many versions of the same process. So those are just some of the ways that customers have found and realized value and benefit from the approach that we offer. Now, that's the end of my presentation, and now I'd like to open it up to questions. So if you have some questions that you'd like to ask, you can go ahead and ask them now. Okay, so the first question is, we've been running Solution Manager. We have a 7.0 system. How can we adopt the 7.1 blueprint? And the answer is, we can help you with that. That is a specific scenario that we have helped existing customers with. We have an approach that would allow you to re-leverage the collateral that you have built in your 7.0 blueprint, but align to the standard SAP BPR, again, with the reverse business process documentation. So again, the benefit of that would be to align to the new version of the BPR, but don't lose the collateral that you've built out, and then on an ongoing basis, you'd be able to take advantage of the functionality in the 7.1 platform. Okay, another question is, what's the best time to have the workshop? How will this support us with an upgrade initiative that we have planned? That's a good question. The best time to do this would be project prep. If you are in a situation where you don't have a specific initiative, again, you're just looking at the platform and you want to get a level set of understanding across your organization, then that's where that planning and discovery workshop would be more useful to you. But if you have a specific initiative, then during the prep phase of the project, when you're aligning the scope, identifying your resources, identifying your team, that's really when you want to get that workshop done. And I would turn that into more of a training so that there's a specific understanding of how the platform is going to be used at the end of that time. Okay, and that's all the questions I have. So again, I encourage you, if you are going to Sapphire, let us know. Please plan to stop by and introduce yourself. We will make the presentation and the recording available to you and let you know when that is available to you. Thank you so much for joining today, and please let us know if we can help in any way in your own organization. Thank you.